on the Lobo Sports Network. Lobo Basketball has been brought to you by New Mexico State Parks Boating and Safety. Be safe on the water. Lobos wear life jackets. PNM. Talk to us at pnm.com. Also brought to you by Route 66 Casino Hotel. Quality service and value. Get your kicks. This is the Lobo Postgame Show. Once again, Robert Portnoy.
Welcome back in Fresno, the Lobo Basketball Postgame Show from the Save Mart Center. Fresno State 89, Lobos 80 is the final. Tonight, the Lobos had one Everguard Solar and Everguard Roofing Slam Dunk, and at $10 per dunk, that means $10 to All Faith. All Faith serves over 2,500 kids and their families every year by teaching them how to prevent abuse and guiding them as they recover from it. Help us give children back their childhood. Learn more by visiting allfaith.org. Lobos fall 89-80 to Fresno State in the Golden State. We pause. Back after this. Lobo Basketball from Learfield. Lobo Basketball postgame show continues from the Save Mart Center in Fresno. Final score, Bulldogs 89, New Mexico 80. Bank of the West continues its commitment as the Lobo three-point basket sponsor. After every game, they donate to Special Olympics of New Mexico, and for more than 20 years now, and they have contributed over $100,000 to Special Olympics of New Mexico as a proud partner of Lobo Athletics. Bulldogs 89, New Mexico 80 is your final. The Lobos saw the top scorer for Fresno State, Deshaun Taylor, shoot the ball from the field just one time in the first half. And then he exploded for 22 points in the second half, including 9 of 12 from the foul line and 3 of 5 from three-point range. And that efficiency from the three-point line was echoed as Fresno State, as a group, was 9 of 12 from long range, a big number, 75%. The Lobos, at three-point range, shot it 25 times, 13 more attempts, but made one fewer than Fresno State. The Lobos were 32% from deep. It's too simple to say it was just the three-point line, but Fresno State shot the eyes out of it in the end, really, the entire game.
That's how simple it was. Really, that's the difference here. If you look at this, everything else being equal, rebounds, they really shot lights out from the three. And that was a difference. I mean, these guys shot 75% from the three for the game and were 5 of 6 in the second half for 83%. I mean, that's the difference right there.
Well, one other thing that changed is they didn't get to the foul line in the first half at all. And then they got there 21 times in the second half and made 14 of those. 67%, not the greatest percentage, but and granted, a few of those at the finish when the Lobos had to start to foul.
Yeah.
But, the made threes were a big change in the complexion of things in the second half because it allowed the drivers to start to get some room.
Yeah, the run-outs on the three-point shooters allowed. Then that's when Deshaun Taylor started putting his head down and going to the rim and getting to the free throw line, and that's what he does best.
New Mexico was led by 21 points from Makwach Malawach, a brilliant 8 for 15 night from the floor and 5 of 5 from the free throw line. Was 0 for 4 from 3. But only one turnover in 34 minutes, a career high, and that 21 points also a career high for Makwach. We pause. Still lots to do on the postgame show. Fresno State 89, New Mexico 80, the final. Lobo Basketball from Learfield. We're back in Fresno in the Save Mart Center. The Lobos 89-80 loss to the Bulldogs. All right, it's time for our State Farm Insurance assist of the game. When teammates help each other out, great plays happen like this. Chris McNeil on the right wing gets the Furstinger screen. He feeds Joe on the roll, and Joe lays it in. Beautiful find by McNeil, and Joe Furstinger lays it home. Joe Furstinger with your State Farm Insurance assist of the game. He had 3 assists here tonight, scored 8 points, had 8 rebounds. State Farm Insurance. Get an agent that gets you. That is your State Farm Insurance assist of the game. All right, it's our privilege now to welcome in Lobo head coach Paul Weir for the post-game coach's comments. And Coach Weir, let's start with the period there. New Mexico got to a 5-point advantage, and then it seemed like Deshaun Taylor, you had him in check in the first half, but he was able to get going.
Yeah, no, they have a lot of offensive weapons. I think Obviously, they showed that to start the game. I think their physicality, their size, their athleticism, I think, and not necessarily all that, but I think it hurt them on the defensive end, them trying to guard us. I think our lack of size or our speed or our ability to move the ball was really good for us offensively, and I think it obviously really hurt us defensively. So offensively, they were willing to ride the game out. It wasn't a very good defensive game at all by either team, but I think they had enough that they were just going to keep riding with it, and we didn't really have much of a choice but to keep doing what we were doing and hope at some point we could get into a defensive rhythm, and we just couldn't. They just have so many different guys that can score one-on-one on the perimeter, score one-on-one in the post. It's as impressive a physical team as I've seen in our league so far, just from an overall depth and balance standpoint of guys. And they showed it tonight, and Taylor obviously showed it in the second half. I thought Williams was terrific in the first half, as was Carter at times. Bowles is a solid player. I mean, they have really, really good balance. Taylor's a terrific shooter, number 5. And they can get you a lot of different ways. It's a good basketball team. It is a much better basketball team than I think their record indicates so far in the conference play.
Coach, got off to a slow start, and I could see your frustration. You called timeout. What did you tell the teams? How did you get that energy up and back into the groove?
Yeah, unfortunately, it was the same ball screen issues we had against Wyoming. We had the same thing to start this game. We gave up some threes. It was really, really disappointing because that's all we've drilled since the Wyoming game. That's all we've practiced. That's all we've watched film on. We've filmed on it 3 times since that game on cleaning up that ball screen coverage because it hurt us against Wyoming. And for them to go out and make those shots just really, really bothered me.
Was it just switches or
It was just
talks?
mental execution. Yeah, it's just a ball screen roll and replace action. We were supposed to be downing it. We didn't. They got off it. They kicked back out, roll, replace for a 3-point shot. They made 9 threes, which is 3 above their average. We just didn't guard the 3-point line well at all. And that's all mental. I think physically we were okay tonight. I thought we competed. I thought we played hard. I thought our energy level was good, but our mental ability to execute stuff was not, particularly on the defensive end. Just a lot of missed assignments, a lot of things that we should have done differently or better. And it showed up, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, the game. We talk about runs. Game is made of runs, and they made a run when they went on that 3-point shooting spree. I mean, I think they shot in the second half 5 of 6 from the 3. And,
yeah.
Did you feel that coming on? And
They shot it really well tonight. You got to give them credit. Now, they're a good 3-point shooting team, and the right guys take them. And obviously, Taylor was terrific to go 4 for 5. And then the other Taylor went 3 for 5. They're good. They're a very good basketball team. They're a hard guard for us because they are so physical and they are so athletic. And we're trying to more so try and get them at the other end and see if we can get some better matchups on the floor. And they made threes. I think mentally we have to get sharper. I knew by giving them a day off this week that it was going to hurt us mentally. Physically, I think it was good for us. We needed it. We've only got 8 guys right now. Dane's kind of playing through an injury, so I think physically we needed a day, but I knew by taking a day we weren't going to be as mentally sharp today as we should have been, and we weren't. We had a breakdown on a baseline out of bounds. They got a wide open 3. We did some stuff offensively in the half court that just wasn't very smart, some very untimely turnovers, just some mental things that I just think by taking that day off, we just weren't as sharp and crisp today as we should have been.
I was going to ask you about that. Was it just lack of attention? And it did feel like that got Taylor going. Like he made that shot and then he took off from there.
No question. And again, it's the same thing with the ball screen coverage early in the game. We just weren't as sharp mentally today as we should have been. And it's going to happen to an extent, when you're playing freshmen and you're playing guys that are just new to Division I basketball and guys that haven't necessarily logged or played a ton of minutes. This is kind of what happens a little bit, but there's still no excuse for it. We have to improve on it. We have to get better. We have to teach. We have to grow and hope that we can learn from this game.
As well as they shot the ball in the first half, and they shot the eyes out of it, and they got a 14-point lead. The first half score got into the 40s for both teams, and you guys were able to get it back even at 40 apiece. I mean, you had to be proud of the way that they battled. And Fresno State could have taken it and run with it early.
Yeah, we just could never get enough stops. Even when we got it to there, they scored right before the end of the half, and even in the second half, we just could not get enough stops. And I've wanted to stick with man-to-man. We're going to keep sticking with it because I don't want to let these guys off the hook. A coach who was maybe trying to win every single possession might go zone, and it's something that I'm still thinking about, but I'm not really ready to close the book on man-to-man and give up on these guys learning how to play defense. There's just a greater value to them understanding the value of playing defense, learning what it takes, understanding what it is, than me just bailing and saying, you suck at defense and we're going to play zone. Like I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet as a first-year coach trying to build a program. I'm not there yet with a lot of these guys that I'm just going to abandon it and say we're going zone because we're not very good one-on-one defenders. They have to learn how to become better one-on-one defenders, more so than before I decide to go in another direction.
With that said, in a shorter bench, we always talk about keys to the game, and we talked about foul trouble being one of them. Two of your guys fouled out.
I thought first half we were great. They had, I think, 3 free throws at half or whatever it was. I thought we did a really good job. Rodney obviously got going a little bit, got the officials fired up, and the whole game changed in the second half. It was foul, 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 free throw, free throw, free throw, free throw, free throw. So, it was hard because it was all happening in the second half at once. And you got to give Rodney credit for working it the way he did, and he got it kind of spinned around. So it is what it is. We have to grow as our 8 guys. We're going to continue to kind of tinker with it and play and find the optimal way for them to play that helps our success. But at the same time, I'm not just going to turn this into some kind of a junk defense team, which has gone on previously. I'm not going to do that. They need to learn the value of being a man and stepping up and guarding the basketball, and they need to get exposed at times as well for that. I'm not going to just abandon that to go zone right now.
It's painful.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
You got to take. You're taking your medicine now.
I'm not saying it's a hard 100% no for the next 12 league games, but 6 in. Particularly coming off the last couple of games, I'm just not there where I'm ready to just abandon ship and play zone defense.
Part of what's going on with Troy Simons is growing and becoming more of a man.
Sure.
And that's part of his maturation. Is he getting closer, and could we maybe see him at UNLV this week?
I don't know. Right now, I just focused all on Fresno with these 8 guys. We'll start working on UNLV when something changes with him or Connor or Sam or anybody else. We'll kind of do that then. But right now, I just have to give these 8 guys everything I got.
And Sam working through the shoulder. Okay, so we talked about what would it take to get over the top in a road game, and you gave Fresno a great run. You've got another chance on the road now coming up next week against UNLV.
Yeah, shoot. We'll get on to UNLV now. We just finished this one. We'll get back to the drawing board here and do whatever we can to try and go play well in Vegas.
Is the first thing on the drawing board again still on the defensive side?
Of course, it has been for the last month. I mean, that's pretty much all we do is try and fix our defense, try and improve how to play one-on-one defense, help side defense, rebounding, you name it. I think our rebounding has gotten a little bit better. I think some things are getting better, but just not enough. And we can sit here and say we're overmatched or some of these guys aren't good defensive players, but I'm not gonna let that be the out. We're gonna keep digging and keep trying to improve as a defensive basketball team.
I'd be remiss if I didn't give you a chance to talk about your true freshman, Maquach Malawach, because he had another career night tonight with 21 points against a really good team, and he did some spectacular things.
Yeah, he did. It was a good matchup. Again, offensively, we had great matchups on the floor. With their size and their bigger kind of players, we're able to kind of use those mismatches, and Maquach as like a face-up 4 is able to give some of those bigger guys a lot of problems with his speed and his quickness. So it's a great offensive matchup. We had a lot of good offensive matchups out there. I thought we had a good offensive night to shoot over 50% on the road and put up 80 points. I mean, it only turned over the ball 10 times. I think that's pretty good. It's good enough to win a basketball game. It's just our defensive end of the floor that has to get better.
On that turnover subject, too, McNeil, after a 6-turnover game, 0 tonight.
Yeah, he was good. Ant decided to flip the switch and take over Chris's spot and turn it over himself quite a bit. So I need 2 point guards at once to go out and play well, turnover-wise, and we'll be where we need to be.
All right, we'll see you in Vegas on Wednesday.
Thanks, man. Yep. Thank you.
There they are, the post-game coaches' comments with Lobo head coach Paul Weir. Time for us to pause. We come back to the Save Mart Center after this. Fresno State 89, Lobos 80, the final. Lobo basketball from Learfield. Back in Fresno, the Lobo basketball post-game show. Fresno State 89, New Mexico 80 is the final. All right, it is time for us now to select the PNM Reliable Player of the Game, and there's little doubt he got a start tonight, and he was spectacular, a career-best 21 points for true freshman. Your game changer tonight for the Lobos, McQuatch Malawach. Another strip by Mathis. A great leak out by Antono Jackson. He leaves it for Malawach, who rips with two hands. Ja'Kai Simmons got the loose ball, fired it ahead to start the fast break. And McQuatch Malawach, thunderous dunk in transition. Malawach is your PNM Reliable Player of the Game. PNM delivers reliable energy to you 24/7. Committed community partners, PNM adding cleaner resources, including more solar and wind energy, and working to build a strong, sustainable energy future for you, New Mexico. Talk to us at pnm.com, where you can manage your account and learn how to save money on your electric bill. Your PNM Reliable Player of the Game, McQuatch Malawach, our final timeout on the Lobo Basketball postgame show. We wrap after this break. Bulldogs 89, Lobos 80, final in Fresno. Stay with us. Lobo Basketball from Learfield. We're back to wrap it up from the Save Mart Center in Fresno. Fresno State 89, New Mexico 80 is the final. The Lobos dip to 8-11 overall. Their two-game conference win streak snapped. The Lobos now 3-3 in league play. The Fresno State Bulldogs improved to 3-3 in conference and 13-6 on the year. Time to select our Subway Sub of the Game. It's brought to you by Subway Restaurants. And Hunter, who did you like as our Sub of the Game tonight?
I liked McNeil. 0 turnovers. That's the direction Coach Ware wants him to go in, and he responded. 0 turnovers.
That's what he's got to do at the point. And coming off the 6 turnovers in the win over Wyoming, great bounce back effort. And McNeil goes for 16 points, 4 of 9 from the floor, 7 of 8 from the foul line, just 1 of 5 from 3, but 2 assists and 0 turnovers in 25 minutes. And remember that little number that I'd given you about McNeil? He'd only had 2 double-digit point games over the last 11 games coming into today. So maybe this will get him going. Maybe this is a start for Chris. He had been taking really good care of the basketball at the point in conference play until the last one. McNeil was doing a nice job. His assist-to-turnover ratio in conference play was 4.25 to 1. But then the 6 turnovers against Wyoming, he's gone back to taking care of the ball. Perfect night tonight in terms of that. But as Coach Weir pointed out, 5 turnovers for Antono Jackson tonight. He said, I need both of them to do their thing together in the same game.
Especially on the road. You got to take care of the rock.
Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino is your home for winning entertainment, including simulcast racing. Albuquerque Downs Racetrack and Casino. Well, we've got the overtime call-in show for you on the flagship station, 770 KKOB, simulcast and digital stereo sound at 94.5 FM. JJ Buck will take your phone calls. The Lobos will travel again, Hunter. Going to get back home and then get right back out on the road. The next one coming is UNLV, and they'll do that on the road coming up on Wednesday. It's an 8 o'clock Mountain Time tip and a 7:30 pregame show with the Bank of the West pregame show as the Rebels host the Lobos from the Thomas and Mack coming up Wednesday of next week. Bank of the West continues its commitment as the Lobo three-point basket sponsor. After every game, they donate to Special Olympics of New Mexico. And for more than 20 years now, they've contributed over $100,000 to Special Olympics of New Mexico as part of their proud commitment to Lobo athletics. Big thank you to Casey Wolfmeyer, my broadcast producer and engineer. My broadcast partner is Hunter Green, one of the Lobo all-time greats. I'm Robert Portnoy. Hunter, I'm looking forward to seeing this new-look UNLV team. Yeah. It'll be another fun one, and the Lobos doesn't get any easier as they stay out on the road, and we'll go to Thomas Mack next week.
Yep, looking forward to it.
All right, my friend. That'll do it for us for tonight. Your final score for the final time from Fresno State. The Lobos' 2-game conference win streak ends, and the Bulldogs, they get down 5 in the second half early, but then they go on a 19-2 run, including the last 14 in succession, and that pushed their lead to 12, and the Lobos were able to cut it to single digits, but never get close enough to really threaten down the stretch. The Bulldogs knocked down their free throws, and behind a terrific second half performance by Deshaun Taylor, the number 2 scorer in the conference. 22 points in the game for Taylor, all in the second half. The Bulldogs win it. Fresno State 89, New Mexico 80 is the final. We will talk to you from UNLV next week. So long, everybody. You've been listening to Lobo Basketball from Learfield.